The resilient Jenkins had to take their 10-month-old baby girl to the hospital yesterday because she had a seizure. Well, her dad took her to the hospital instead of Stephanie. Now, we know this because Stephanie uploaded a video last night. It was a very concerning video. She was very enraged. It looked like she was kind of blaming the internet for what was going on and her not being there for her baby. She said that she was at the motel with the kids while Drew was at the hospital. Mind you, she nurses the baby, so I feel like it would make more sense for her to be at the hospital, but instead she's at the motel yelling at us about her not being there. Let's not forget a couple months ago, we were all telling Stephanie to get the baby checked out for possible neurological problems. And this was stemming from the pictures that she uploaded of a very big difference in Manovah's eyes. Now, the baby is home now. No new updates. She said she'll update us when she can.
If you've been anywhere near drama corners of the internet in the last 24 hours, you already know we have to talk about the resilient Jenkins family. Because baby Manovah, their 10-month-old, allegedly had a full-on seizure last night, and I'm honestly still processing it. Like, allegedly around 7 o'clock, Drew says the baby was just toddling around the motel room doing her little wobbly baby walk, plopped down on her side and just started seizing. Drew scooped her up, rushed her to the ER, and Stephanie stayed back with the other 4 kids because, according to her, there was literally nobody she could call to come sit with them in the middle of the night. Which, okay, we'll circle back to that loneliness in a minute because, oof. They did an MRI, a bunch of tests, and then sent little Momo home the same night, with basically no clear answer yet on why it happened.
Hey guys, a little update. This was about 7:20 last night when our baby girl went into a seizure. She is fine and okay. She is back home. She went through some testing. We have some calls to make to get some extra testing done. We don't know what happened. She was walking around just fine, and all of a sudden she sat down, laid on her side, and yeah, that's when it happened. I was asleep for my nap before work at the time when Steph got me up. I didn't know what was going on. I just saw my baby girl on the floor and sprung right into action. Again, she is okay. She was very out of it after she was done having a seizure. If you guys can send her all your blessings, it would be much appreciated. I love this girl a lot.
Stephanie posted a couple of photos. Drew holding the baby in the hospital bed looking exhausted, and then later one of her snuggling Momo with the caption, "Back in Mama's arms." She said they're waiting to hear if the neurologist wants follow-up scans or if they just monitor with the pediatrician. And look, I don't care how you feel about the parents right now. We can all agree a 10-month-old baby having a seizure is terrifying. So thoughts and prayers to that sweet little girl, period. Now, the internet being the internet, people immediately started connecting dots. Some are saying it could have been a febrile seizure because those are super common at that age, totally possible. Others are side-eyeing the fact that earlier that same day, Stephanie had posted Momo absolutely coated in Nutella, like face, hands, couch, everything. And the baby was running around barefoot near cleaning chemicals and a giant kitchen knife on the floor. Classic resilient Jenkins chaos.
Resilient Jenkins' baby, Manovah, has suffered a seizure. According to Stephanie, who put the post update over on the Book of Faces around 9 or 10 p.m. their time last night, she stated that Momo had a little seizure scare earlier. We are waiting to see if she will have an MRI while in the hospital or if the neurologist recommends we follow up with primary. Stephanie did not allude to what might have caused the seizure at the current time. Many speculate that it may have been febrile, as they are very common in children around Manovah's age. Some speculated that Manovah might have gotten into something, as Stephanie had posted a video earlier in the day of Manovah with a jar of Nutella or something all over her and the arm of the sofa and everything else.
And then there's the whole breastfeeding conversation, because Stephanie has been pretty open about gardening. We all know what that means. And people are like, could something have transferred through milk? We don't know. It's all speculation right now. but the questions are loud. Also, remember the cross-eye thing everyone kept pointing out months ago? People were literally begging her to get Momo's eyes checked, and she kind of brushed it off or stopped posting clear face shots as much. Now suddenly we're talking neurologists and MRIs, and it's like, interesting timing. And yeah, allegedly someone on Jules' side of the family has a seizure history and takes medication for it, so maybe there's a genetic component. Again, we don't know yet.
Stephanie did post an update approximately an hour later stating, "Back in Mama's arms. I will update you guys as soon as Drew and I get a chance to breathe and hold our babies. Thank you for keeping us in your thoughts and prayers." Y'all, and regardless of who you are and what you think about Stephanie and Drew, you got to remember this is a baby, and I think they all deserve our prayers at this time. Stephanie and Drew may be able to, they may be able to control what kind of situation they're in, but these children cannot, y'all. And I'm just asking everyone to pray for Manovah. Hopefully Stephanie will give an update later. Oh, and for those of you that think that it's a HIPAA violation for Stephanie to put her own child's stuff all over the internet, it is not. You have to be a medical provider in care of that patient, and spread their information. You can put your own child's information all over the internet that you want to, y'all. And anyway, everybody remember to pray for the resilient Jenkins at this time. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the comments.
The part that has me the most uneasy, though, is Stephanie's newest video. The one she dropped literally the day after the hospital scare. She's filming in the motel room, baby crawling around barefoot on that nasty floor, chocolate everywhere, jumping on the couch, knife just chilling in the background like it's normal. And the whole time she's ranting because the school has been pulling her kids aside one-on-one to talk to them. She's mad, like really heated, saying teachers are intimidating them, showing favoritism, telling the kids there are resources to get y'all out of this situation, and that they're doing all this behind her back without calling her first. She even told her children, "Don't let them take you alone into a room." Girl, what? First of all, teachers are mandated reporters. If they're pulling kids aside privately, it's probably because they're trying not to embarrass them in front of the whole class, especially when everyone already knows these kids are coming to school in the same mismatched clothes, probably not showered, living out of a single motel room with 7 people. That's trauma, okay? Kids act out when their whole world feels unstable, and cramming that many humans into 400 square feet with no privacy, no routine, no space to just be kids, that does things to their little nervous systems.
The resilient Jenkins 10-month-old baby girl had a seizure yesterday, and this is completely heartbreaking. Now, there are some people that are saying it might not be true, but they did show pictures of Drew being with her in the hospital, and he said that it happened around 7:00 p.m. yesterday, that the baby girl was walking around or playing around, and she sat down, went on her side, and had a seizure, and he took her to the doctor, and there are going to be other tests that are going to be done. The little girl did go home yesterday. Stephanie posted a few videos about this, and we do have to remember, though, that there is history of somebody in Drew's family having seizures. They take medication for this. And another thing we have to think about is that Stephanie does substances. Now, she gardens, I believe they're stronger substances, and because she breastfeeds, I'm not sure if it's something to connect. Plus, people had been telling her to get her baby checked, because remember, she would go cross-eyed. I don't know if she still does or doesn't, because Stephanie doesn't really post her as much, but I just really hope that the baby continues to get checked. And there's people that are giving the warning to be careful, because they very well will use this. I will guilt people into buying their kids Christmas gifts because they like to act like they don't have money for their children at all. Just when people want to feel sorry for the resilient Jenkins, then Stephanie posts a video or a picture of maggots being on a washcloth in their kitchen. So I don't know. It's hard to feel bad for these people. However, we do feel bad for the children. But what do you guys think about all this? Let me know. What do you think in the comments? Do you think they're going to use this to guilt people into buying the kids Christmas gifts? Let me know. What do you think? And of course, don't forget to like my video, share it, follow me for more chismes, true crime, and stories.
And honestly, the fact that teachers are taking the time to talk gently, one-on-one, instead of calling these babies out in front of everybody, feels like compassion to me, not intimidation. Some people are convinced this is Stephanie's soft-launching homeschooling, trying to scare the kids away from trusting teachers so she can pull them out completely. And I'm like, you've been homeless for over a year. Where exactly do you plan to homeschool them, babe? There's also chatter that these one-on-one talks might not even be regular teachers, Some think it could be social workers or counselors checking in, which would explain why they need to speak to the kids privately. We obviously don't know for sure, but the school is 100% aware of the situation at this point.
Look, I'm going to try to say this with the most respect that I can, but call me old-fashioned. I feel like teachers and parents are supposed to be on the same damn page, especially if it comes to trying to have disciplinary actions towards my child. If there's one thing I don't appreciate, is my child coming home and telling me that they're in a one-on-one type situation where they feel intimidated by a teacher because the teacher took them into a room and told them, you're not supposed to be doing this, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like, excuse me? We're not going to have my 8, 9, and 10-year-old already in the principal's office, especially without me knowing what the hell's going on until after the fact. And then your twisted ass has this disciplinary action towards only some kids in the classroom, but not the other kids. You have this favoritism, weird ass crap, which then leaves my kid feeling even more pressured. I don't fuck with the favoritism.
They see these kids every day. They see the black eyes, remember Deshaun in 2022. The dirty clothes, the exhaustion. They're not dumb. And Stephanie's reaction is just isolating them further, telling them no adult can be trusted except her. That's how you keep kids trapped. It's scary.
And it's a whole different kind of level of cojones when I called you and specifically said, I do not appreciate that happening. And then the very next day you did that same thing with my kid. Because while my kid is coming home and telling me, you know how you said this teacher wasn't supposed to come and talk to me in a room by myself? Well, she pulled me into the room by myself and had the same conversation with me. What the fuck is that? I get it. Go ahead and have your biased ass opinion because you see your asses up online, but do not take it out on my children. And this isn't even like it just since we got online. Like I said, I feel like maybe they just think we're young parents who just don't have our shit together because, I don't know, people like to just assume that of people who are poor and roughing it because they've just always overstepped their bounds when it comes to how they handled our kids in that freaking school.
Then there's the whole, why did Drew take the baby to the hospital if he was the one asleep when it happened thing that people keep asking. Stephanie said she was awake and saw it. Drew was sleeping. But Drew's the one who drove because... reasons. It's weird, but also these people are running on no sleep and chaos 24/7, so who knows? Look, I'm not here to diagnose anybody's kid over the internet. But when you live stream your life and monetize every crisis, people are going to ask questions.
And the wildest part to me is that they want to claim my kids are lying, that they're coming home and just making up these very specific situations with very vivid details. So when I call these teachers out, I'm like, hey, you're out of line for doing this with my child. They're like, oh, that situation never happened. What? For example, one of my kids came home a few weeks ago and was telling me that one of their teachers was talking about how they have resources to help us out of this homeless situation. Just giving very detailed information to a child that could have been relayed to me. When I called the teacher out and said this probably isn't an appropriate conversation to be having with my child, the teacher just told me that's not a conversation I would be having with your kids, so I don't think I did. What is that? See, I grew up in that children are seen, not heard household, the household that denies everything that a child has to say. So when my kid brings something to my attention, you can bet I'm going to believe what they have to tell me. Building up a sense of trust between you and your child is incredibly important for the relationship between your child. So why would you not put the faith in what they're trying to tell you? But anyways, yeah, that's my rant for the day.
When you post maggots on a washcloth one day and then beg for Christmas money the next, people are going to be skeptical. When you reject every single housing resource, job lead, or legitimate help that isn't straight cash, but then a baby ends up in the ER with no clear explanation, people are going to talk. All I know is that sweet baby deserves answers, stability, and a safe place to grow up. Those kids deserve to go to school without feeling like they're walking into a war zone between their mom and the teachers who are just trying to help. I hope whatever tests they're running come back with something treatable and not serious. And I hope someone, somewhere, is making sure these babies are actually okay. Because 5 kids in a motel room for this long is not okay.
Last night, baby Manovah from the resilient Jenkins was hospitalized due to having a seizure. Now, a lot of people on Facebook were offering her advice like you cannot have your child who possibly might have epilepsy sit in a dark room with a TV flashing because whenever there's cutscenes or screens changing to different colors and stuff like that, it can resemble a flash and cause a seizure. Well, she's telling everyone in the comment section to mind their business and that red lights, because she's also having red LED lights in her room, has some benefits.
So Stephanie also posts this whole thing titled, Stuff I Think About That a Lot of People Don't Think I Think About. And honestly, I went in expecting, I don't know, maybe some self-reflection, maybe a light bulb moment. Instead, it turned into the wildest accidental confession hour I've ever seen. Like, she basically laid out every single reason people are screaming at their screens without realizing she was proving everyone's point. She starts off super soft, all teary-eyed in the motel room, 5 kids running around in the background, and hits us with the text overlay. My kids have one childhood. And then, wait for it, for 3 of them, that childhood is already halfway over. What core memories have I given them? None.
But a lot of people, such as myself, really think that the kids would really benefit from some natural light instead of like harsh lights, like maybe like the hotel light or like LED lights, maybe some natural light because it's not as bright and not as crazy. But she's telling everyone to mind their business and that they're just going to do what they want to do. Baby Manovah is home now, and they are going to be checking up with their PCP, and the PCP is going to refer them to a neurologist. So hopefully they'll find some answer for baby Manovah, because childhood epilepsy is very scary, and let's keep them in our thought and prayers.
Excuse me while I pick my jaw up off the floor because, yeah, that's actually the most honest thing she's said in months. She even admits the most memorable thing they've done in the last 2 years was one camping trip. 1 in 2 years. Girl, that's not a flex. That's heartbreaking. And then she keeps going. I'm constantly worried I'm not contributing enough financially. We've tried to work out me getting a part-time job, but it doesn't fit in our schedule right now. Wait, hold up. Pause. Didn't you literally tell the internet multiple times that you make more from social media than people do at their full-time jobs? So which is it? Because those 2 things cannot coexist. And honestly, at this point, I'm like 99% sure the I make bank online thing was just a story to shut people up, because the math has never mathed.
Why was the person who took the baby to the emergency room the person who was sleeping when the seizure happened? You weren't awake. So why did you take the baby? She can't tell the doctors what happened, and you were asleep. Also, thank you to anybody who screen records their content and puts it on Reddit, because they shouldn't be getting views. Whoever did this, you probably shouldn't even be following them because you're supporting him, but, pish posh, we could deal with that another day. Or, since you don't baby proof, I don't know, did your baby get into something? You don't baby proof. What's funny is when it came to her crossed eye, HIPAA, you're not talking about that. But when it comes to a seizure, those are also neurological issues, which would be in the same category. So tell us about the eye. You're the one who opened Pandora's box. You're the one who wants to talk about seizures and neurologists. What have they said about her eye? Speaking of eyes, how did Deshaun get a black eye in 2022? Bye now. Also, you said you don't take Atlas places because you have to take her because she's breastfeeding. Does Drew lactate now? Curious. For research purposes.
She goes on this whole rant about how after they finally get a place, the kids are gonna need new beds, new dressers, all the kid stuff, because y'all don't understand how far behind we were in the 1 bedroom. Sweetie, we do. We watched it. We saw the donated mattresses, the dressers people sent, the toys, and then somehow all of that disappeared, and now we're in a motel with 5 kids sleeping like sardines. So what happened to the stuff? Where did it go? Because that's not poverty, that's choices. Then she hits us with the classic, Drew and I don't have a village, it's just the 2 of us. Oh my God, I had to pause and take a lap. You don't have a village because you set the village on fire and then danced in the ashes, babe. Your mom, your brother, multiple family members literally begged to help you. Offered housing, offered to take the kids, offered everything, and you blocked them. You cut them off. You chose Drew over your own blood. That's not no village. That's you torching the village because they told you the truth about your man. And the way she frames social media like it's this holy calling from God. I can't work outside the home right now, but God gave me this opportunity to work from home through social media. Girl, first of all, you posted 2 days ago that you can barely keep up with one account, let alone multiples. Second, if this is your God-given job, why does it look exactly like scrolling and chaos and zero consistency? You're not treating it like a job, you're treating it like a lifestyle, and the kids are paying the price. She casually drops that they almost lost their car, the one thing they actually need to survive, like it's no big deal. Food stamps cover food, the motel is basically covered by assistance, you claim to make all this money online, so how do you almost lose the car? Where is the money going? Air fryers? Gardening supplies? Because the priorities are showing, and they're not showing the kids. And the part that actually made my chest hurt. She's sitting there talking about core memories, while completely ignoring that her kids do have core memories. They're just traumatic ones. Evictions, maggots on washcloths, sleeping on floors, watching mom choose a man over stability, being dragged from motel to motel every 28 days, getting yelled at for making normal kid messes, watching their pets disappear. That's their childhood. That's what they're going to remember, not park days or library trips or picnics, because those things are free and she still doesn't do them. Core memories don't need money, they need presence. You could take them to the park across the street and let them run wild for 2 hours, and that would be a core memory. You could do dollar store crafts. You could read them books from the library. You could just sit and play with them without a phone in your face. But instead, we see clips of the kids trying to climb on her for attention, and she's like, "Go away, I'm filming." That's the memory they're making.
So of all the videos that Stephanie's ever posted, the most recent one bothers me, I think, more than any of them. It is so truly disturbing. It's the one where she's saying that her kids have been, like, talked to by the teachers individually and disciplined without her knowledge, which at first I thought she was, like, saying that the kids have been, like, physically disciplined by the way she was acting. When you send your child to school, there is a certain amount of authority that you have to understand that the teachers have. And parents like Stephanie are the reason that educators are leaving in drones, because if they are not allowed to correct your child, I don't even know if the word discipline is appropriate, but to enforce boundaries and to tell them this is appropriate, this isn't.
Then she has the nerve to say, "The steps we've taken since last year do not go unnoticed. Our progress might not be noticeable to the outside world." Progress. What progress? Y'all went from a 1-bedroom apartment, which was chaotic but at least had separate rooms and a kitchen, to a single motel room where 7 people are breathing the same air 24/7. You almost lost the only car. The kids look more exhausted every month. Thanksgiving, they were sitting there with blank faces while you acted like everything was fine. Where is this progress? Because from where I'm sitting, this isn't progress. This is slow motion regression, and you're proud of it.
Then how are they supposed to be expected to lead a class? And it sounds like the teachers are doing her children the kindness of taking them aside individually and telling them. And that is probably because they know how adverse their home life is. And she said, I know you're up on our page. Don't have bias toward the kids. I don't think it's bias. I think it's these educators who have chosen to give their life to caring for children, which is something she obviously has not done. These educators are seeing a very volatile situation where there is obviously abuse and neglect, and they understand that these children are going through a lot, and instead of further embarrassing and othering these children, they are doing them the kindness of taking them aside and saying, hey, you know, this behavior is not appropriate. It sounds like they are also possibly trying to gauge how severe the abuse and neglect is.
Then, oh my god, then Drew wakes up one day and decides he's the main character of a redemption arc nobody asked for. Overnight, he goes from professional PlayStation athlete to I'll work 3 jobs, I'll sell the PS5, I'll DoorDash at 3 a.m., I'll install the console in the kids' room if we get a house, whatever it takes. And Stephanie's suddenly like, yeah, I'll go back to work the second I'm done breastfeeding. Cool. Great. Amazing. Why are we hearing this for the first time in month 9? Why did this energy not exist when y'all first got evicted? Why did it take y'all getting denied, again, to suddenly remember that jobs are a thing? Oh wait, I think I know. Because someone, allegedly, has a custody hearing in February.
By maybe asking them what's going on at that motel, and that's not something that Stephanie can tolerate. So this is soft launching homeschooling. Just watch. And I sure as hell hope that Desiree stands her ground, because Stephanie can do it to her own kids, which is tragic enough, but she cannot pull Deshawn out of school. And I bet you anything she's going to try. It is so troublesome that Stephanie is sowing seeds of doubt in these children when it comes to other adults. She is telling them, you cannot trust other adults. I'm the only adult you can trust. She said, I had told them that they can't be taken alone in a room with these teachers, which I don't think she's alleging that anything inappropriate is happening. She's just saying that the teachers can't speak to them one-on-one, which is an insane thing to say. I would rather a teacher address my child privately than call them out in front of the class, especially when that child is already, I'm sure, being bullied.
And not just any little check-in. Drew's mom is going for full custody of their son. Full. As in, take the kid and bounce. And the last time they were in court, the judge basically handed Drew a to-do list titled Act Like a Parent 101, and stable housing was at the very top. So now, suddenly, Drew is out here giving Oscar-worthy performances, begging strangers on the internet to co-sign for them, promising the world, swearing up and down he's a changed man. And look, I hope he means it. I really do. For those kids' sake, I hope he's serious. But the timing? Suspicious. Highly suspicious.
Because let's be for real, the kids are going to school dirty. They are probably going to school smelling like, God, I can't even imagine. The slop of that motel room, the smoke, the body odor. They probably smell terrible. They're in ill-fitting, mismatched, dirty clothes. It's very obvious to their classmates, even if they didn't know about her online presence, that they are struggling, that they're in a situation that's really disadvantaged. And I think a lot of their classmates do know about her online activity. It's so disturbing. It's one of the most disturbing posts she's ever made. And then she said something about they were telling her kids, we can help you out of this situation, which I actually kind of doubt that happened. But if it did, she said that's something they should have talked to me about. I can almost guarantee you that they have. I'm sure the school has reached out to Stephanie with resources, and she has probably denied them all. Probably rebuffed them at every turn, just like she has anyone who has offered her any help that isn't cash.
Meanwhile, Stephanie is still doing the most innocent victim routine known to mankind. She's out here blaming the leasing agents, blaming negative comments, blaming Mercury retrograde, blaming the wind direction, blaming everyone except the 2 adults who keep making the choices that keep them in that motel. She'll cry about how the kids deserve space, and then turn around and post them sleeping on the floor for views. She'll say negativity is why brands don't work with her, but then asks her chat what content to make next, like this is a full-time career she's clocking into. Girl, if you're making the money you say you are, where is it? Where's the credit repair? Where is the second job? Where's the plan that doesn't involve guilting a stranger into co-signing so you can maybe, possibly, one day move?
You're only gonna focus on the fact that I'm fucking having a shirt on. I'm in the fucking grimy ass bathroom. And this is the reality of not having a fucking village, bro. Because my fucking baby, my 10-month-old baby, just had a fucking seizure. And I mean, I don't like posting this kind of shit normally because it's like people will make the video about anything but what I'm going through, and you'd be like, you fucking deserve this shit, and just all this like bullshit about like not acting like I'm human, and this stuff is tough to fucking go through. Because I don't get to be there with my baby. I have to stay here and take care of the rest of the kids. And I have nobody to call to take the rest of my kids, and my freaking milk is reminding me that I'm not with my baby. This is the only clean shirt I had right now, so fuck off. Fuck off if you're insensitive, like, fuck. Sorry for cussing so much. A scary enough situation for the kids, so. I come in here and gather myself before I go back out there.
And the kids. Oof. That's the part that actually breaks my heart. 7 people in one motel room. Kids sharing beds with siblings. No privacy. Barely any space to play or breathe or just be kids. And yeah, people love to say, mind your business. But when you post every corner of that room online, when you monetize the chaos, when you cry for sympathy and then spend the donations on ring lights instead of a deposit. Sorry, but people are allowed to have opinions. I'm not saying life isn't hard. Motel life with that many kids sounds like an actual nightmare. But at some point, you have to stop filming the nightmare and start ending it. You can't keep weaponizing God's timing every time someone asks why you haven't done the bare minimum in almost a year.
This is a little bit of what the lighting looks like during the day for us. Every day. But she just did that to start the video. Blah, 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 blah. Have the day you deserve. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Anyway, that's the tea. I'm still kinda reeling. Drop your thoughts down below. Like, actually, what did you think when she said, progress? Where are you watching from? What time is it there? If this one hit you like it hit me, go ahead and leave a like so I know I'm not alone in this. Subscribe, turn on notifications because you know this story keeps going. I love y'all, be nice to each other in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Mwah.